I was born and raised here in Chicago on the north side in the Lakeview community, where I currently reside. And growing up was a little difficult for me because during that time, a lot of the Latinos from that community was starting to uh, be pushed away into the west side, southwest side. And I found myself going to a school where I was one of very few Latinas. So recently, I want to say oh God, like 2 years ago, I landed a job as an art instructor at the Chicago Park District in Humboldt Park. And to me, it was a challenge because even though I looked the part, my question was, can I play this role? Because I felt like an outsider looking in because I grew up in Lakeview. And I come to find that art was the connection that I needed to make with these kids. And art's always been a part of my life, so art was kind of like a diary for me, without having to write words. And that's why I think even today you see it in the work where it is a story. You make out a story. And it's not just my own story, but I like to be the voice of other people who don't seem to have one. And you'll see that a lot too in the work. And even with the colors that I use, I'm big on color because I feel that color is really a reflection of who I am. It's not just the figures you see, but it's also the color you see. And that's kind of like where art kicks in my life, and kind of how it really helped me growing up, identify who I was. And much of the art reflects my culture, which is my Latino culture, my urban culture, and I'm very, very much into that. I think that you don't necessarily have to be Latino to understand my work, but art is something that has always been part of me. I could remember being as young as maybe like 4 or 5, and it was always about the box of crayons and pencils and coloring book, and I'd pretty much take that over like dolls and what other girls were playing with at that time. But yeah, I'm self-taught. At 9 years old, I remember my father telling me, well, you need to start learning how to paint in oils. And I said, well, what's the big deal? He's like, well, because oils, it's a good quality, and you need to learn how to do this, if you're going to be an artist. And I said, oh, okay. So I remember him taking me to a little store on Cicero. I don't know exactly where, maybe Cicero by Irving Park. I can't remember exactly where, but he bought me my first oil set. And from then on, that same night, I did my very first oil painting of an album cover of a singer. And I was up till maybe like 2, 3 in the morning on a school night at 9 years old. Yeah. I was in what you would call just like your regular art class in high school when I started, and the teacher, she noticed that you don't. She said, you don't belong here. You got to go to the other class, which was the more advanced class, But I was just a freshman, so I waited the year. Finally got into the AP art, and the teacher was great, Miss Sokolov, who works at Gallery 37 now. She inspired me in so many different ways, and she taught me how to use different mediums, how to get into acrylics and, casting, and you name it, she did it. And I would take my lunch periods to be in art class. I'd cut math class to be in art class, But yeah, I definitely took it to the next level when I was in high school. I remember I was about 16, and I got hired at an antique shop painting replicas of Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel scenes onto antique furniture and making money, doing what I love to do. And I was like, man, is this real? Is this possible, Because you see it a lot, whether it's hair that becomes roots or whether it's like my tree lady painting, the body. I'm very inspired by not just the city, but by nature. And just some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen was as a kid, going to Guatemala with my mom during the summer. That's where my mother's from. And just seeing how nothing is manipulated in nature, how it just grows as it pleases. And kind of like if you cut a flower, it says, oh, it's okay, I'll grow back, bigger and better, you know. Um, so I guess that's kind of where the roots come in, because it's a way for us to trace back. I acquired a job in Humboldt Park as an art instructor, and when I first started, you know, it was one of those things where, okay, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do, you know, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that with the kids. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna create art. But then along the way, I noticed that my purpose there was more than just to teach what I know about the art world. I started getting to know the kids there on a more personal level. You know, they get to know you, and they open up a little more to you. And I started noticing a pattern developing here, where a lot of young ladies were getting involved in the wrong crowd. A lot of young ladies that obtained this very low self-esteem, and just this you know, low, very self-image of who they were. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that, because I saw these girls, you know, and I was like, well, they're so talented and they have all this potential, but they themselves can't see it. But I could see it. And that's where this whole idea about what else can I do with my artwork, it's like it doesn't really stop here. I don't feel it stops here, you know. There's got to be something else I could do with this. So what I decided was to create this mentorship program for girls between the ages of 12 and 18 in the Humboldt Park community. And I didn't have any experience with administrative work and, you know, grant writing and all this stuff that you need to put a program together. So that's where my friend Carmen Flores Rance came in. And I approached her one day and I said, Carmen, I got this crazy idea. You know, I just don't know where to start with it. And I said, I want to do this, but I just don't know where to begin. And she said, well, let's call it this, and I'll help you, you know, get it together. And I said, oh, I said, okay, you know, and she was for real about it. I said, all right, let's do this. So she recruited some girls that she knew, and today we have 15 of them, and we call this mentorship program Las Caras Lindas, which means the beautiful faces. And right now, where my art plays a role currently in my life is I am creating artwork for this mentorship program. So anything I paint, a proceed of that will go towards, you know, funding the mentorship program, if not all of it, because right now at this point, that's what I want to use my artwork for. And right now, my current inspiration are these girls, and it's funny because I had one of these girls tell me, you know, Patricia, I feel so special when you take time out of your day, because I know you're very busy, and you take time out of your day for me. And she's like, you've helped me a lot. And I turned to her and I said, honey, I said, listen, if anything, you're helping me, you know, because I feel like I have found a solid purpose.